Hi everyone, my name's Jackie DePietro. I did my final topic on cohabitation on the rise, looking at women's belief that if you cohabitate before marriage, it helps prevent divorce. Some background information on cohabitation is that it is a worldwide thing. Majority of the marriages in the U.S. Begin with premarital cohabitation. Since 1970, 10% of the cohabitating couples make up all of the couples. Looking at other countries, Norway is one of the top leading countries right now for cohabitation. And in Bulgaria and Romania, 80% of women cohabitated before the age of 24. On the side that cohabitation is linked to divorce, cohabitating couples are on the rise right now, whereas divorce is kind of at like a standstill, and it has been for the past several years. But a study was done in Europe that showed that when there was an increase in cohabitation, there was also an increase in divorce. So they found out that couples that experience higher marital conflicts also are the ones that cohabitated before marriage. So cohabitation and marriage on the other side is that results from 30 years ago and results from today show that there is no relation between the two of cohabitation and divorce. That's why researchers have such mixed results about the two topics, because there isn't a role between marital instability and cohabitation according to some researchers. So the theoretical framework that is in this research is ecological system theory. So Bronfenbrenner's theory is used to explain cohabitation and divorce through the macro, meso, and micro levels. The macro level looks at the increase in divorce and cohabitation. The meso level looks at the relationship between the parents' divorce and the children that are cohabiting with them. And the macro level looks at the individual alone and their experience between divorce and cohabitation. So the research question is, are women that live with their spouses before marriage more likely to believe that living together before marriage may help prevent divorce compared to women that did not live together before marriage? The hypothesis for this research is that women that did live with their spouse before marriage are more likely to believe that living together before marriage may help prevent divorce compared to women that did not live with their spouses before marriage. Our independent variable is if you and your first husband lived together before, and the dependent variable is the belief that women have that living together before marriage may help prevent divorce. So looking at the methodology, is that the data was actually drawn up from the National Survey of Family Growth that was done in 2013 between 2015. The age group that was being examined was the ages between 22 and 30. It looked at a university, so it had different age groups. The only participants were women because it was about women's belief. The survey that was done was 10 questions, and it was distributed to 200 participants. The design was a quantitative observational cross-sectional research, and that allowed the research to focus on the numbers and measurements that were being collected from the responses of the women. So the findings showed that there was a very weak relationship between the two variables. A correlation coefficient test was conducted that showed that using the SPSS system. The findings showed that they were not statistically significant because the value was less than 0.5. This topic is relevant to family science because all of this background gives the family and human services workers the ability to use this research to help relationships that are going through marital instability or cohabitation and give them facts on the background and say to be able to help these couples either get through their issues or take other steps to dissolve the relationship. It also gives background information on cohabitation and divorce that will help better educate our family and human services workers. There was some strengths to this research as well as limitations, but some strengths were that it was a smaller number of participants, so it was easier to conduct and to review results. The research question and hypothesis could be viewed right away because the study was fairly smaller, so everything could be addressed quickly and we could get results out, whereas a bigger study would take a lot more time to process and review and conduct results. Our limitation was that it was only directed towards women in a certain age group, so obviously it didn't give us such broad results that maybe would have helped to see if the relationship was linked. It also looked at the only women's belief when it could have expanded to both sides of the relationship, either women and men, whatever relationship you're in. It could have looked at both sides instead of just women's. And the other limitation was that it was done in just one university, so what we didn't get to see like different universities if they had the same results, if this was just this university alone, which made it difficult to find out anything else. For future research, researchers can use the previous literature that is already out there in the world to maybe try to figure out that tough indication that if cohabitation and divorce are linked, or if that cohabitation and divorce are two separate things that we need to stop comparing. Just because cohabitation is on the rise does not mean that divorce will start rising again. I think that doing more research studies will be able to give a better answer about the link between the two. And that is it for today, so have a good one.